Okay, so now how we can move this little dog. So, it's a beautiful figurine, but we want a living animated character. Animation comes from giving soul and movements and to something, right? The word animation. So here, let me just hide this light. I'm gonna hide it. I'm gonna hide my camera. So how I'm hiding it, by the way, the camera is locked, the visibility of it. I'm gonna unlock the visibility. How the hiding happens, hiding Control H on your keyboard. So Control H is for hiding. Unhiding, so let's say you want to unhide the Shift H. So Shift H is unhide. So easy. So Control H. So for moving objects, we have. So let me just stop. Let me just grab a cylinder. There's a cylinder here. Let's bring it in. Let's make it taller. So imagine that this is like a arm. I'm gonna make it simpler. If you remember, we all did all of this, and also I'm gonna add a bit of. Okay. So this is a geometry. You can move it around and animate it. This is called simple animation. It's not deformation. It's animating translation, or the movements your object, translation, or just movement, or just simply movement. So all you need to do is to just be mindful of your timeline. So what here you see timeline, right? So let's say you want an animation for 100 frames, and FPS is 24 frames per second. Probably you won't see this because my image is there. So for those of you who can see it, it's 24 frames per second is here. Yes, that's easier to see. So that is frame rate. It means every 1 second is 24 frames. So at time 0, this object is here. I press S on keyboard. Animating. Also here. What is that? Ghosting. Yeah, the S is somewhere here. But S stands for set key. Set keyframe. Just press S. So that's frame 0 or frame 1. After 1 second, which is 24 seconds, you can move it here and press S. And then for another second, it could rotate. Another S, and then like in a short fast, in half a second, it can come here and press S. And when I go back to the beginning and I play it, I see an object animation, right? All of the playback attributes are here, by the way. It's here, playback. Play, go to the beginning, stop, go forward, and all sorts of that. So so this is like you when you animate the object, but sometimes let's delete all of the animations. I can select my object. I can drag all of the details, and I right click and say break connection, which is connection to the keyframing. So there's no keyframe on it anymore. Sometimes you don't want to move the entirety of the object, but you just want to deform it. So let's say this is a shoulder, but you want to just now deform it to like this, like an arm, right? So here you use rigging. So here you go to side view, like for example this one, this view. You add bones. So I add this imagine. So these are called joints or bones. So it's called here inside rigging. It's like adding bones inside this body mass. And these joints, so you see that it looks like an arm joint, right? And then I select my joints and then my body. And then here it's called skinning, which means attach this skin, this geometry to the, let me just turn on wireframe and shade it. So actually I'm gonna go to perspective. I'm gonna press 4 again, or I'm gonna press 5, but I'm gonna turn on this little thing which says X-ray joints, so joints will be visible. So now if I rotate my joints, you see that I see deformations on this body. This is not an ideal deformation, you know, no shoulder bends like this, but you get the idea. So all we did now so far, we add a skeleton, we bind a skeleton, but sometimes you add an extra layer of information which is called IK or FK handle, or rigs basically. The word rigging comes from the puppeteering. It's like you add all of these rings and, you know, controls to move your puppet. So look at this one, which is IK handle. From the beginning to the end, it gives me one handle that I can grab and just move it around, and I get a function that looks like an arm function. I even can go further, and I can even create a curve here. And let me just bring it the curve here. So I added a curve here, and I select my handle and curve, and I say inside rigging, constraints and parent constraints. So this curve functions as if it is, sorry, it should be the other way around. The curve and the IK handle and constraint parent. This curve functions as if it's the parent of that. So I didn't add anything to this system, but just something that is more visible, more easy to grab. So now I have a full rigged arm with just few clicks, a bone structure. So of course you got a body, a bone structure, a IK handle, an added level of movement, and a visibility icon, which is, we call it control curve or CC. So if I'm gonna do all of these processes for my dog body, it's gonna take so much time. But some smart people out there created auto rigging systems. So systems, I'm gonna delete all of that. So what you saw was rigging, right? Rigging, starting from skeleton IKFK handle, so stands for inverse kinematics and forward kinematics. Those are the way muscle, like kind of joints moved. Like we have some bend joints like elbow, we have some rotational joints like shoulder. So I'll talk about that later. So IKFK is for that. And then we added some control curves or CC. So that's the process. And then we have to make sure that they all flexible, scalable, and then they, you know, there's so much of details in rigging. It's not easy thing. So that's why we use auto rigging system. So these are plugins. These are added into Maya. It's not in-house. So here you see that I have a plugin called mGear. This is not an in-house Maya plugin, it's a added one. How we add that? It's easy. So if you search for mGear framework, this is the plugin. It's free. It's used in a wide variety of projects. It's developed by Miguel, a friend of mine, amazing person, and it's used in so many different projects. It's an amazing platform, and it's one of the reasons that character animation in Maya is so desirable compared to other platforms. So you just press download and you just download the latest version, the mGear, the zip file. I just downloaded the downloads folder because I already have installed it. I just want to show how easy it is to install this. So all you need to do is to extract it. So once extracted, so all you need, so there is a drag and drop install. Is as easy as this, that you just drag and drop this into Maya and that's it. It gets installed. So it's a very handful, amazing tool and easy to install. So it's already installed and you see it here. And it has a bunch of tools. Don't panic about looking at them. They are very easy to use. And the most commonly used part is this shifter guide manager. So I load this guide manager, which is here, and using this guide manager you can create the components of a body, like, you know, like legs and arms and shoulders and things like that. However, if you really want to just speed it up, you can even use a template. So here is a guide template sample. You see that you have biped like a human, quadruped like a dog, like a cat. Our dog here looks like a human because it's standing on the legs. So I'm going to use a biped. But also you have some templates for meta-human if you use Unreal Engine as a you know, game. And also you have game biped template, which is suitable for game engines. So I'm going to use with just very basic biped template. So the template is added. I'm going to turn on X-ray and also this one. This is X-ray joints, but this is X-ray. Everything becomes X-ray. So this is a bipedal structure. So you have to understand this. So I'm gonna select this, and I'm gonna click on this little thing here, which is isolation, or press Ctrl 1 in the keyboard. So if I talk about that, so this is this one, isolate. If you just want to see something and that, only that thing, and everything else for a very short time, hide all but this for a short time. So you just press that, or Control 1 in the keyboard. So why the okay, so you see that I selected that one. When I click on that little thing, everything gets hidden, and I only see this. And if I click on that or press Ctrl 1 again, so Ctrl 1, Ctrl 1, it's a very useful tool. So look at this template. It has feet, legs, body, upper body, you know, chest and arms and head, and what is this? This looks like tongue and eyes. So it seems that it's an indicator of different pieces of a body, and all you have to do is to reposition these pieces of the body, and then it automatically generates the rig for you. So I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna move. So this is the most important part, the center of the body. By the way, if you don't want to keep selecting things that you don't want, there is a selection mask here. Sometimes you just want to say, you know what, for a while I don't want to be able to select geometries. So you see that I can't select it. So let's select this piece, bring it to the center of his body, which is here. This is pelvis. Actually, I can make things smaller before I can select the guides, and I can make them smaller, but not too small. So I can see them actually. You need only the left side, because the right side you can delete, you can mirror it by the tools here, which is called duplicate symmetry, this one. So I might delete the, let's delete it later, because I want to show you how to position this. So I'm going to position this in the pelvis, where the pelvis is located, pelvis bone. And then I grab the left leg. So this is the root of the leg. This is where the knee is gonna be, and probably not that one, this one, yeah. And this is where his feet gonna be. So that's let's position it from the middle as well. Okay, that's one leg. How I apply to the other leg, you just delete the other leg, select this one, and from the shifter, duplicate symmetry, so you get the other leg. So that other leg is also created. Top body, so this is the chest. This is where the arms should come out. We don't have any arms, so I'm select them and delete them. If you had, you just position the arms, but we don't. Our character doesn't have any arm. This one says neck, so that's where it should be. It's the beginning of the neck, and here is the neck tangent, neck tangent 2, and this is the head, all of the head. So this is where the you know, the entire head should rotate around. So I position it like somewhere in center. I might do it wrong, but I come back and fix it. A character has eyes, so I can, okay, but it doesn't have tongue, so I can delete that. And it doesn't seem to open his mouth, so I can select the mouth, rotator, but I should be able to select the root of it, which is mouth root, this one here. You can move it around to figure out which is which, so I can delete that. This should be at the tip of the head, which I would say is here. So let's do the eyes. So again, like the other one, you only need to do one of the eye, and this should be positioned in the center of the eye, which is here, and this should be outside like here, and the other one deleted, and this one duplicated. Actually, could we go up and then duplicate symmetry for the other eye? So what about the tail and the ears? I show you, they have to be added manually, but I'm gonna select the entire of this, and I'm gonna build from selection, so you see how it works so far. Okay, voila, your rig is ready. It seems complicated. Actually, you can hide actually you can select the rig and press Ctrl 1, so that's our rig. It has a bunch of bones inside. The bones look, this skeleton, do you remember when I talked about skeleton? This skeleton looks a bit thick, so you can go to the display, animation tools, and joint size and make them thinner. Look, so it's just visibility. They just point in the space. But this head can go around, can rotate around. These eyes, look at them, so you can move them around. These legs, if you grab this, you can see that, like, oh, I can move the legs around, but I don't have any toe on my character. I might just go back and delete the toe. And then we've got this like kind of body movement, so there's everything is ready for a character. So I go back and I might keep just one toe. If we look at the guides, we might not, so this one's is a foot locker, but this one's go for the more foot lockers, but these ones are we need these three, but we might not need these because our foot is very very basic shape. I talk about these ones. We need to move them close to where they belong to. This one is body control, this one is spine control, and this one is for the chest. Okay, and these two are for the neck. We probably don't need them. Let me just bring, we only need this. And I think if I want to rotate the head, I would like to rotate them around here. So I have positioned the head, center of rotation is far up. So now I delete my rig, and then I get back to my guides, and I fix the problems I created. So where was the neck? So I'm gonna move the neck tangent and everything all the way down, and even this neck root. Eyes should go up, back up, where, and the tip of the head should go up. So that's one thing. And the other issue we had was these two. I might, so this is the thing, this is the whole foot part, but you might say that we don't have a foot, we just have leg and ankle. Obviously, you know, aim for simplicity, right? So I'm gonna give a test. So I'm gonna delete the entire foot and bring that down, and only this, give it this direction. I keep the other one. So let's build it one more time. This is a more of a iterative process. You build it, you test it, you delete it, you build it, you test it, you delete it. So it's a very useful way of working. So I'm going to select the rig, Control 1. So this leg is the simplest form. It's just this. It's just go up, forward and backward. This has the full feet support, which is very useful because you can do a lot of like kind of these heel actions. You can like kind of grab the feet and lean to the left or right, and your body kind of follows that. But for this very simple character, we don't need it. So I realized that I was on the right track. So I'm gonna get rid of all of this leg and just duplicate symmetry, this simple one. So everything seems to be in position. I want to move these. These are attribute holders of the rig. You should move them close to where they belong to. So this is for a spine. I move it next to the spine, which is here, right? These are for the legs, so I move them next to the legs. Actually, best way to position them is just like this leg here and this leg there. Right. These ones are for the arms. We don't have any arms, so I delete them. This one is for the face. We don't have a face with mouth and all attributes, so I can delete that. We have a face, but not facial features like, you know, a body. But what we can do is that now it's time to create tail. Before creating the tail bones, you have to think where it should be connected to. I would like it to be connected to this. So I select that one and I create a chain spring. So this one says chain spring. I double click on that. So direction is toward X. So this is X direction, red, yes. Number of sections 4 maybe. Spacing, let's keep it 1. Generated that, and let's call it, when it generates it, it gives a window. Let's call it tail. Don't close the window. It's not centered, it's towards left, or I keep it centered, but even though it's not centered, I say it's centered because it doesn't need to be symmetrical. We will do that for the ears. We will say that the ear is left or right. And so this is also very important. Spine UI, which is this one, is the holder of the attribute of this tail. Okay, so that's enough. So let's move the tail up. So you see that if you are confused how to select this, like pieces overlapping, so you just go from top and then press up arrow on the keyboard. In your keyboard you have a up arrow, like a button, looks like this, and this button is very interesting. Imagine that you have a bunch of bones like this. You select that one. If I press up arrow, I just move in the chain up. Down arrow, I move in the chain down. So it's a very useful shortcut. So I select one of these, press up arrow. Now I know that's the tail root. So move the tail root here. All I have to do is to reposition the tail tail bones. I think I added too much bones, but that's okay. I don't do that for the ears. For the ears, 3 joints would be enough. Maybe. So that's the bones for my tail, and it's a chain spring. I use chain spring for the ears too, but I have to select another joint where the ear is gonna be connected to, then double click on chain spring. 3 joints is enough towards X. This is X friction, and then spacing 1, which is good. It created that. It is ear left, and the holder of the attributes on it. Okay, I think I should have not deleted the. Can I? Yeah, but that's okay. I can say that the holder of the attributes of the ears also is the spine root, which is this one, but then I bring it up so it would be close both to the tail and spine and the ears, and then I keep it for that. So yes, that's the one. Close that. Up arrow, and then it's time to position it where it belongs to. So that's the root of the ears, and then this is gonna be all the way up to here, maybe less, and that one gonna be here, and that gonna be here. So that's the ears formation. Okay, so that's ear left. I can duplicate symmetry it, so I get ear right. Let's build the rig and test it. So now you see that I have the parts for the ears and the tail. I'm gonna select only the rig and press Ctrl 1, because I want to show you that when you select the spine, so if I move the body, you see that, so that everything moves, that this one moves the body, and head should move the ears. It does. But why we chose chain spring? We chose it because of this attribute, chain spring intensity, that you can turn on, and suddenly you see like a really interesting actions. Actually, if you make the stiffness very low, so stiffness should be low, damping high. So there's one of the damping here. I don't know why, just put it one of them there. So damping's high, stiffness low. Then you get like this kind of like interesting actions on the tail. Stiffness is too low now, I think. Let's make them like 4%. This one 4% too. Oh yeah, that is a much better reaction, and you see that you will see such a thing on the tail as well. The tail has a very beautiful action. And if you want to reset them, just turn this off and on again, and then you see that it just gets reset. It's already off. Okay, so we have our rig. How to attach different pieces of our body to the rig. So let's move on to the, so we don't need the guide anymore, so I hide that. So we only need the rig. And let's attach the pieces of the body to the rig. So I'm going to select the ears. I should turn on selection mask. So if you remember, we mirrored them, so the ears and the legs are kind of connected to each other. So these are like one single object, but I want them to be separate. Again, our friend, shift right click, separate. So now I have two pieces, but I have to select them, delete the history, and then name them properly. So this one ear left, and this one ear right. Let's do the same for the legs. Shift right click, separate, and then delete the history on them, Ctrl Shift D, and then this is leg right, and this is leg left. So they're separated. So how to bind them? So this set of skeleton, for example, is responsible for this leg. So I select this set of skeleton, I select this leg. If you remember last time for the arm, I just clicked on this skinning, but this time I just go to the skin, bind skin, make sure everything is reset. But there are different methods of skinning. Today we're gonna use a geodesic voxeling, which is a very good method of rigging for almost everything. And the weighted the normalization gonna be interactive, and skinning method is weighted blend. Spend some time and learn what are these methods. These are just different algorithms for attaching a bunch of skeleton to a skin or a model. Apply and close. So once closed, if I select that little box, so I'm going to press 4 and I'm going to select that little box and press 5 again. So this you see that's some sort of like a movement on that, which is very cute. So that's the leg movement, and it works. I can stretch the leg further forward. If you want this stretchiness to be more, you can select this. If you remember, I said that these ones are the holders of attributes, and you can make it more stretchy, which for our case possibly will do that. So let's do the same for the other parts. So select the joint and select the leg and skin, bind the skin. If you remember, I didn't click on it. I clicked on this little box next to it, which means that change it or bring the setting up before applying it. So now I apply. Now for the body, I click on this joint, but the point is that this joint selects everything, all the joints all the way up. But I just want to this joint and hold shift this joint and this joint and this joint. Basically spine, right? I just want to rig the spine and here this joint probably, which is the neck. I'm not going to use the neck, so I just undo that. So I just want to select this, shift that, shift that, shift that, and shift this, and then select the body, and then I would say that skin settings, and not the joint hierarchy but selected joints, and then apply. So what would happen is that I would see that probably press 4, select this, press 5. You see that the body moves, legs are reacting very nicely as well. But also I have these ones that are for the body movements, so they do some sort of action on the body or don't. They do some action on the body, but there's not a deformation on the body. Yeah, but that's okay. That's okay for now. Let's do the same thing for the tail. Select the joints of the tail up to here. Select it. This one's the hierarchy because I only selected the first one and I let the hierarchy select the rest. Apply. So let me just turn on the chain spring intensity and grab that one. Let's see the action on the tail. It acts pretty nice. Head. So the entire head, I think you don't need this. So you only need the root, which is this neck joint, to be responsible for the entire head. So you just select the entire head, one joint and one, so selected joint, one joint, which is this neck joint, and one object, and apply. Let me just hide the background. So if I grab that, oh, why it's not moving? Okay. I think if we look at the head, it's that orange joint here. Okay, instead of, so this one is a much more simpler skinning. So I select the head. Let me just hide this first. Save everything. Select the head. So if I, you know, how I know that, so if I move this, you see that little orange joint is the responsible for a lot of rotation. So I select, see that I rotate and I Control Z, so everything goes back. So I select that one. I shift select the head, and this time let me reset everything. We use the simplest binding method, which is closest distance, and select the joints and apply. I hope this one moves the head. Yes. So this one moves the head, but like, what about the eyes and the nose and everything? You can either, so I don't rig the eye. Actually, let me separate the eyes first. Shift right click and separate them and delete the history on them, and then just let them, this one eye right, and that one is eye left. The reason that I don't rig them is this, that I want to maybe change them, like maybe I use this for blinking. You see that when I select this one, the handle is here, and so if you want to center it, this one brings the handle at the center of your object. So maybe I just want to like use this as a blinking way, like that, you know, for the eyes. So what I do is that I select the eyes, select the nose, select the mouth, and I middle click, drag and drop to the head. So what would happen is that it becomes, so they become the child of the head. So you see that they are dropped under the head. So this head includes them. So they're not separate objects. If the head moves like this, it should move them too. And if it doesn't, it's the okay, so I'm gonna undo that, undo all of this, and maybe, okay, so I want to show you a new way of rigging, which is constraint joint. So instead of making them the child of the head, I make them, so let's say, let's start with from this nose. I select this joint and I select this nose and I say constraint parent. So this nose now is the child of that bone. So I can do the same for the rest, but the point is, now if I want to kind of do some adjustment on this nose, it's really hard. So what I do is, before constraining it, I put the nose in a group. I call it nose group, and I select the joint, select nose group, parent constraint parent, and now the nose, which is inside nose group, follows the head, but nose itself is free out of trans, so I can work with it, I can animate it. So this is a technique called nesting. So let's do the same thing for the mouth. Let's say this is mouth group. This head, select head joint, mouth group, constraint, parent constraint. So that's mouth. We have to do eyes. I would do the eyes with this. I put eyes in a group, so that's, so they are already in a group, but like group in a group. So this is eye left GRP or group, and then I, oops, Control G, not Control H, I right group. This joint, that is, select the group, constraint, parent constraint, this joint, select the group here by holding control, and constraint, parent constraint, and this. Should move it around. Yep, we are doing great. So now the entire head except the ears move. Face is moving too. So let's do the ears, which I would basically do very basic rigging, which I select this and then shift select the skin and then go to the skin, bind the skin, joint hierarchy, show the sigmoxyling and weighted blending and apply. So would that move the ears? Yes, very nicely actually. Same for the other ear. It's already set to all of that. So now all the pieces of this body is rigged properly. So now I need to make my rig. You see that this plugin makes the rig a little bit complicated. So you see that one, like you see that one, the ears move, the tail move. Now I went and the legs are doing all right. I need to just make this stuff a little bit more available and a little bit less crowded. You probably don't need a lot of that things you see here. Okay, so let's start hiding things we don't need to see. So first of all, you don't need to see the joints at all. You know, it's we only use the contour curves, so I can make them hide. Control H, I think. Yes, they are hidden now. So suddenly everything gets a lot cleaner. These joints, Control H as well. Yeah, they are within my rig. Okay, so okay, neck. This character basically doesn't have any neck, so I have to be able to, so you see that if I select this, everything else on top is selected, so I go to the, let me just minimize this for a while. I go to the rig setup, press F, so I find that curve which is there. I can press Ctrl A and turn on the visibility of that curve. So these ones cannot be hide with Ctrl H. It's different. So this neck, I press Ctrl A or just click on the attribute editor and then search for object display and turn off the visibility. Same for this. We need this. This is some sort of a neck thing again. What's the action of that? We already can do that action. It can move the head up and down and just do like. So it's a. I think I keep that one. These are not that useful, especially this one, but this one is very useful because that does the curve. But this one does. This one kind of like breaks the things apart, so I turn the visibility of that one off. We don't have spine things off, and that one off. These ones don't hide, but we keep them there, that's fine. Okay, we definitely need these leg ones. I'm gonna make them, you see that one, like, ooh, this one is a bit, they are used for leg adjustments, we keep them. These are for knee adjustment, we keep them. Okay, so that seems a lot more simplified. Okay, so now it's time to just fit these control curves within the area we want. So that has a little bit of work to do as well. So you select the control curve, for example, this head one. I just right click and say control vertices, and I only select by holding shift the ones I need. I don't need to have the soft selection on, so press B. So now I press 5 on keyboard and I turn off X-ray because these curves should be available to you to animate in this mode. So you see that I don't see the tail curves, I don't see, so I'm gonna make every one of them that I use available. So let's go back. So for example, for the ears, you can select all of this and then press 5, make them available like that, which is cool. You can right click and object select. If you want to mirror that, you have a tool inside M-Gear, inside Rig Bits, and that is called Match all the transforms. Would that work? No, it doesn't. Oh, mirror control shape, that one. Selection. No, all the left to right. on that. This is the left side of the character. Why it doesn't mirror it? That's funny. Anyway, that should have worked, but it doesn't, so I do it manually. I carry on adjusting all of that fast. Control curves, all of this selected, press 5. So you want these curves to be available for you to animate, so you have something to animate. So for example, this curve, you see it's hidden inside the body. You make it available to you like that. These two curves are super important. Actually, you sometimes need this one to be bigger, because if you look at it, I'm grabbing that one that moves everything around. This one only moves the, you know, leg parts. So could give you some adjustments. Tail's gone crazy, so I'm gonna set spring chain to 0 for now. Contour curves. That's for the tails available. I'm gonna make this one available too. I think that's enough. Just part of it out of the body is enough. But what is very important are these knees and also these boxes. Actually, let's do them one by one. This should work. Why didn't work? Mirror contour shapes. I have no idea. This should mirror the shape, but I have to do it manually, which is a shame, but that's okay. These controls doesn't need to be super accurate, as long as they're available and helps you to animate. That should be alright. Knees ones. Sometimes all you need to do is just to move them forward a little bit. So we have everything, I think. Cool. Our rig is ready. It just does all the functions. How come this one? That is leg IK, but this one. There's one IK inside that we don't need. I think that's when I did the mirroring that happened. So this one's 0. So if that has happened, it should happen here too. No, it's fine. Let me just move the head around. Yeah, our head is fine. Yay. Okay, cool. So that's my rig ready, so I can animate the dog now and render it out, in which I will talk about in another video.